Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. I thought I'd do this little after hours sort of end of year review to talk about West Ham in 2024, New Year's resolutions, and basically what's going to happen in the future. Do you know what I mean? Before I get started, smash a like on the video if you want, subscribe to the channel if you want, and hit the notification bell if you want to. Yesterday, I'm seeing a lot of stuff on social media. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on YouTube where people are feeling flat, feel like that West Ham's coming to an end, and it's quite sad to see. I'm not going to lie, it is very much sad to see. West Ham really shouldn't be in this situation, but we're in this situation because we've got an owner in charge who really doesn't give a shit, if I speak the honest truth. I agree with that comment there from Kim Jong Un. This is the worst. This is the worst year. It's been a bad year. It is a bad year, but we'll get into that. Put your comments in the comment section if you want to come on. You're more than welcome to come on this platform. For me, this year's been hell as a West Ham supporter. Yeah, from the moment January arrived last year to coming up to the 31st of December tomorrow, it has been literally a year from hell with West Ham United. This time last year, we were sitting sixth in the league. Now we are a year on. We don't know where we're going. We don't know. We don't want the Managerial. We've got an owner that doesn't really care. And for me, it feels like that we're going massively backwards very, very fast. And I'm quite fearful, if I'm being truthfully honest with you. Like, I look at us currently right now, I don't see no structure, I don't see no project, I don't see no plan, I don't see nothing of any note at the minute. Like, and that is quite frightening. That really is quite frightening because if you've got none of them things, how are you supposed to build on from where we was a few years ago? Now, I'll keep doing saying stuff about the ex-manager and people don't like what I'm saying. Now I'm going to try and put it into sort of crystal clear terms for people. Is that when the ex-manager was here, yeah, fair enough, the results wasn't unbelievable, but there was a bit more calmness around the West Ham scene. Since he's gone and Sullivan sort of got control of the situation, it's turned into a circus again. And that's where the problem lies, is with him to a point. Obviously, January, February, I done a video with Frankie. Anyone who knows Frankie, he's on Hammer's Chat. And I've done it on the beginning part of January. And he asked me a question and he said to me, would you be happy for Moyes to go if like a new man was to come in? Would you be like happy about it? I said, yeah. But I've never trusted this owner. Never, not once. And I feel like the owner it's like one step forward, two steps back. Now, David Moyes took us on a journey, yeah, where we see Europe, well, we see the world basically, right? He opened up our eyes as supporters of this club to say, you know what, West Ham can be a big club, yeah, and we could take a fan base all over Europe. I'm not saying he was the answer, but what I'm saying is he showed us the way. Sullivan pulls us back down to his level, which is Birmingham City level, and that's where the problem is. Do you know what I'm saying? Tone, if you want to come on, mate, come on. The link's in the chat. Come on, have you say, mate. For me, as I say, right, when I look at him and I look at right now, we are a mess. And I mean, I'm a big mess in a big way. Yesterday's game just sums up the year as a whole. Do you know what I mean? It's been toxic. Like, it's been probably the most toxic I've ever known West Ham to be. Yeah. There was all this thing about the Moyes in, Moyes out thing last year. That sort of went when he left. Lopetegui come in. People were on the fence with him. Some people were like, you know what, we're going to give him a go. Lucas said it absolutely from the start. He said, James, he ain't going to last till Christmas. And then the way he's gone, like with Julian Lopetegui, and there is no future with him. Like, there's no plan, there's no future, there's no structure, there's no nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? But do I really look at Lopetegui and go, right, everything's all because of his fault? No. Like, this year as a whole has been a collective. I think it's on everyone associated with West Ham, including myself as someone who does the YouTube and has an opinion on West Ham United. For me, we've all got to take accountability for this. Do you know what I'm saying? people praised up Tim Steidten and made out he was going to be the next big thing. He's done nothing. David Sullivan, I've got to rein it in with him. I really have. I've got to rein it in with him because my hatred for him is overshadowing my judgment. So I've got to take a step back and go, right, I despise the man, but I've got to look at it as an overall thing of West Ham and not just identify him as the main thing, even though I do believe he's the main problem at our club. I look at Lopetegui and I feel like he's a man who's just out of his depth, massively out of his depth. He's at a club that the expectations are so high, he ain't going to be able to sustain any sort of anything of any note. And that's where the problem lies. So, you know what I'm saying? Before I let Tone come in, I just want to get to that opinion there. Chuck your opinions in. It goes a long way. In my opinion, this is what happens when you have owners that are in the 70s. They have no vision. They have no sense of wanting to win more because they've done what they had to do. Yeah, I agree with you on that, mate. I think for me, just to round this up before I let Tone come and have his say, yeah, I feel like this year has been a painful year for West Ham fans as a whole, right? But this club's not dead. Yeah, if we all come together as a unit, right, we are more stronger than you think. Yeah, this club will not die. It will just not die. Yeah, and we will not allow it to die. Do you know what I'm saying? The issue is we've got a lot of issues that are happening inside the ground and the ground as a whole. The major issue that we've got is the fans are losing disconnect towards the club, and we've got to try and bring them back to being a West Ham fan again. Amount of people that I know that I'm speaking to have basically turned around and said, James, I'm falling out of love with it, mate. And I get that. I get that. I really do. And it's quite heartbreaking to see, but we need to pull them back, yeah, and go, right, this is what it is. Having away fans in the home end don't do us no favours either. And that is something that's got to be massively addressed. Massively got to be addressed in 2025. Like you need home fans in the home end to build an atmosphere. You can't build an atmosphere with people that don't feel the love of the club. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's always gonna end in disaster at the end of the day. Let's get this man in. Tone, how you doing, mate?
Still kind of getting over last night, mate. And then, I mean, seeing an article apparently in the Telegraph that it looks like he's keeping the man on. He's got a stay of execution again. I mean, the bloke's got more lives than a cat, ain't he, at the end of the day?
Are you surprised though, Tone?
Not really, mate. No, not at all.
I agree. I agree.
Even to all in the chat as well. Just seeing the comments coming in. The other thing, mate, a blind man can see what's going on, but Sullivan, he just don't give a monkeys, really. And your comment about the London Stadium, I mean, I was for lunchtime and that I listened to Gatesy for the West Ham Massive, and he was saying about he was there, and he said the atmosphere was just dead.
Joe, what my biggest fear is, and this is what I've been saying for a few years. Yeah, it is my biggest fear with West Ham, is that in 10 years' time there won't be West Ham United. It'll just be it will be West Ham London. How it is logoed up now is how I feel it could be in the future, and the fans are like, how can I put it? Like Lucas is a traveling sort of tourist fan, yeah, but he loves the club, right? I feel with West Ham that a lot of the old guard, not a lot of the younger fans, will start losing disconnect with the club over the next 10 years, and basically you'd be going to the ground to watch a game of football rather than support West Ham United. And that's been my biggest fear ever since the move, that we go there, we become what we're trying to become, which is a franchise. We then have a fan base that's split because you're going to have away fans in the home end. There's so many issues in the ground. Like people have got problems with the ground. They've got problems in the ground. They've got so many problems before you even get to on the pitch. Do you get what I'm saying, son?
Yeah. I mean, we all knew it was a gamble going to this place, and the fact that We don't own the place when we should have bought it. It's just a mess, isn't it? The fighting in the stands when they first moved in there, the atmosphere of, oh yeah, you'll be as close to the playing field as it was at Upton Park. No way near it.
Mm.
Nowhere near it at all, basically. And then you, as you said about the away fans can sit in with home fans. I mean, that's just disgraceful in that respect. And the stewards, they don't give a monkeys because they're not paid by us. They're paid by the LDDC, and they don't give a monkeys either.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure that they get people into that place. But it's shocking. I mean, like you said about the London badge. I mean, I joked about it before. You can just see it now. West Ham, Paris, West Ham, New
Yeah.
York. Yeah,
The thing
sad.
the thing is, Tone, right? Having Lucas on this channel, right, is also a good thing because he tells me a lot of what goes on in America in regards of franchise sports and things like that. And what is happening currently right now is affecting West Ham to a point. I don't care about me, you, Ben, the bowling lounge, usual suspect. They don't care about any of us. They care about whoever fills that seat is as good as a supporter who's been there for 25 years. And that's the problem that we've got at the minute. Like our identity is a bit lost out there. I'm seeing people who are just walking away, and I'm hearing it quite a lot. I'm going to be honest. Like I speak to so many different people all over the world, and I also speak to a lot of people that sort of message me and say, "Jay, I'm not going to there, mate. I'm done with it." And people say to me, "I don't blame you for walking away back in 2016." And like for me, it was hard to walk away in the first few years, especially in the European campaigns when Lucas is flying over and he's saying, "Come over, like, come on, like, we'll go out." And I'm like, "No, I can't do it." And I just feel that this year has been a complete and utter fucking wrong of a year for West Ham. How would you address 2024 as West Ham fan, mate?
I think you're what you just said there. It don't feel the same, does it? It just doesn't feel the same at all. I mean, I don't get to go as many games like I used to, but even still, the time you have gone there,
yeah,
it's just corporate. That's the problem. It's just got to become too corporate, and for the working man, it's a dying game for them because at the end of the day, they're just going to be outpriced.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, we could sit here and talk about Lopetegui all night, but the problem is, I don't even think he. Do you know what? I think he's just another sort of pawn in Sullivan's sort of game of chess. I think first off, Sullivan will blame him, really, saying he's right, and then he will go after Steiden.
Yeah.
Steiden's the next one on the hit list, and then as long as it avoids Sullivan's sort of media exposure. The problem is with Sullivan, he hates the media, yeah, and the only way we can really get to Sullivan is through the media. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen West Ham even at Upton Park, and someone correct me in the chat if I'm right or wrong on this, please, and please do. I've never seen it in a year how many times we've walked out of the ground and fans have walked out the ground at half time.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember it, Tone. Like Arsenal 6-0, Arsenal again, yeah, this year. Liverpool yesterday, yeah, there was another game where fans literally evacuated like the ground. I think it was Nottingham Forest away. And for me, I don't know about you, Tone. Like I don't know where to go with it now. I don't know. Like
I think that's the problem, mate. I mean, for a West Ham fan, it's soul destroying to see this club going backwards, or not just backwards, is it? I mean, we're fucking hyperdrive. We're going back to the Stone Age with all the way that the club's being run, and there's no answer at the moment. The only kind of thing you're hoping for is that someone comes in and basically kind of buys him out. But it ain't going to happen, is it, at the moment? That's for sure. I mean, obviously, like the Kretinsky thing. I mean, obviously, he's got the Royal Mail thing over the line now. Is he going to up his stake in the club? I can't see it.
I don't think he's. People keep crying out for Kretinsky. He's an investor. He's not a buyer. He's an investor. He what he's done is he's invested in West Ham because he knows it's a good asset to have. It's only going to gain in revenue, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like me. I use me as an example. I'm involved in dogs. If I invest in a dog that I know has got potential to go on to be a very good dog in the future, that's an investment. I'm not a buyer. I'm an investor.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that's happening currently right now. I don't think he's interested in buying the club. But who really is interested in buying the club? The club's a bit of a fucking state at the minute. And what I said last night, because on the afterthought, I was emotional, I was angry, I was, I feel like a lot of people were sort of hoping for something that didn't exist last year. Yeah, but I don't feel sorry for them. I look at Sullivan and I knew this was coming. I know the geezer fucking works, and he works every single time. He is a control freak, and he will control the situation at West Ham, and no stadium will ever control anything at West Ham, ever. When I look at it, I just feel that no one's going to buy West Ham. I think Sullivan knows that. Yeah, because like let's put it this way, Tone. Right, if you was to write down the last 14 years of stuff that's happened over the last 14 years of his reign, nothing's really changed, if I'm being honest, other than the move. Right, we're in a ground that we don't own. We're in a training ground that is like we said last night, Ford United. Like, has anything really changed, honestly, other than spend?
I think the only thing that's the shining light out of the 14 years, and that is the Europa Conference, but we can't hold on to that for dear life because we've got to look at the other stuff, as you said. I mean, the London Stadium we don't know. Are we going to get it at some point? Who knows? I mean, there was. Remember the talks that this year was a space where I think you was looking at. Well, if Gold was still alive, that the pair of them was going to walk away because I think obviously the contract came up to an end, but they had some agreement. But of course, Gold going changed the whole dynamics of as the structure of West Ham at that point, and he's now left in charge, and that's a sad part about it in that respect. The train, like I said, the Chad Relief. I know we've still got some part there, but Rush Green itself and that. I mean, yeah, bloody hell.
Why do you think Sullivan's still here?
Pound and pence. When you think of, we pay rent on the stadium, so what we kind of take in over through the gates, that's where the money is. And obviously, as you said, he sees a potential that there is that possibility that Mr. Khan says, well, I can realise that there's no Olympics, no athletics coming here.
Yeah.
So let him buy it. We've got this deal now that we can actually kind of do something to the stadium itself, but I can't see that happening. Why want to invest in something that's not yours?
It's true, isn't it? Like, and I think that's what triggers a lot of people. Like, obviously, I can't speak for everyone, but the people that I've spoke to, and I'll never forget it. A few years ago, when Lucas come over for the first time, and we went down to Green Street, went down to the bowling and all that, and I took him around the old gaff and everything. And there was an old timer. I'll never forget it. Yeah, he come out. He was walking. He come out the shop. He was walking up towards the big statue where you got Bobby Moore and all that. Yeah, all the boys there. And he said, well, what, you West Ham fans? And Lucas said, yeah, I've come over from America and all that. And I said to him, I said, do you go over to Stratford? He said, no, I won't set foot over there, mate. Like, not after what he done. Didn't even say his fucking name. What he done, yeah. And I was like, fair play to him, mate. Fair play. And that's an old timer. And when I say an old timer, I'm talking a geezer who's in his late 70s, early 80s. Gotta be. And he was like, he was still fit as a fiddle, the old boy. I give him that. And fair play to him. Fair play to him. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe we in the new year, I've just got to look at this and say that he's just not going to get out this club. And the moment he does get out the club, I think it will be a relief to everyone, Tony, if I'm being honest.
You'll see a cloud lift off the stadium straight away.
Yeah.
You'll see a cloud lift off. And I mean, the sad part about it, I refer back to, what's her name? Amanda Staley that left Newcastle.
Yeah.
It looks like that, she's going to invest in Spurs, unfortunately. But really, that's what come over this way, Amanda. This is a better proposition. They've already got a stadium that they own, that they've done with, and that you need to invest in something that looks good. Yeah. And that we can be. The squad's got the potential to be it. I mean, like you said, Lopetegui, it summed it up yesterday. Was it the last 15, 20 minutes of the second half? He's standing there, hands in his pockets, just dumbfounded. he had no answer. He'd given up. But at that stage, the players had given up,
Yeah,
and I think it's
yeah,
sank that was sad to see in that respect. I mean, like, you don't wish any kind of undue pressure on people. You can say in certain respects he creates his own because the way he changes his team and the tactics and stuff like that. But in general, we all know he's not the right man for the job. We know, obviously, as you mentioned before, mate, Sullivan's brought this bloke in. But why did he bring him in the first place? Was it because he can manipulate him? He knows it's a quick win because when you think about it, he knew what happened at Wolves with Spain. It's an easy one for him.
yeah. I'll tell you. I'll get to Richard's comment shortly. Yeah, I'll tell you the reason why I knew Lopetegui was coming last year is because Sullivan never changes his ways. Anyone who sort of follows Sullivan like I do, I'm going to be honest, I've got a fucking agenda against him. I hate the geezer. There's not many people that I hate, but he's one man that I would not piss on if he's on fire. Right, I really wouldn't. If you go through the 14 years, and my memory is very, very good, yeah, he always does the same thing. He always goes to people that have been there, seen it, done it, and got a good CV. He will not take no risks. He will not bring in someone for the future. He will not have a plan. Right, he just doesn't do it. And I knew back in sort of late December, early January this year that Lopetegui was coming. And when I was seeing people sort of gassing up other top end managers and saying Stan's going to do this, Stan's going to do that, I was trying to tell people to say, listen, don't get your hopes up, mate. This is David Sullivan. Just remember who's in charge of the club. Yeah. And as I say, Sullivan will always have the final say. Um, Richard Stevens, hope you're well, mate. I think you're in the Midlands, if I remember rightly. We all want Sully gone. If he left tomorrow, where does that leave us? I think it's a fresh start for everyone. I think what it is my hatred towards Sullivan is because of what he served up during the move, and the ticket prices thing for me. Because I'm going to be honest, this ticket pricing thing that's happened, like the concessions, that should have happened a few years ago. And if it wasn't for COVID, I think it would have happened around 2020, maybe 2021, where COVID hit, that set them back. You know what I mean? Because what he's trying to do is he's trying to make West Ham into something like a global brand. That's all well and good, but we're shit as a club at the minute. Do you know what I mean? Who's going to really want to come and watch us? And this is a rival club supporting the rival team. Like, you know what I'm saying? What do you make of that, Tone?
To be a global success, you've got to be successful in running a club in the first place, not kind of what he's
Yeah,
doing. It's not use kind of wanting that. It's all, well, put it this way: it's all right, goodwill and wanting that, but you've got to be levels above that to create that in the first place. And if you're not doing that, then there's no balance.
yeah,
And this bloke, yeah, I mean, as you said, mate, cheap as chips. Let's kind of just make sure that we can just get through. We'll be all right. We'll see ourselves through. And then also, when you think as the points weren't going our way and other teams around us was winning, we start to see ourselves dropping, and everyone's in kind of thinking, "Shit, we could be in a relegation battle here." Then you're in pipe up
yeah.
because at the moment he knows we're in a kind of relatively comfortable position.
Mm,
He can just sit there like he did yesterday and that, and pump his fist and all this business and rub his hand because he knows we're mid-table. If we stay like that, it's fine. We're still going to get our payments come the end of the season. That'll see us through. I don't have to lay anything out. Happy
yeah.
days.
I completely agree, mate. I completely agree. The thing that my fear is with him is that this geezer is going to look at this and go transitional season.
Oh, Jesus
as,
Christ.
as his excuse lined up straight away. Yeah. And the thing is with Lopetegui, he's like, I don't even know how he got past the fucking interview. If I'm being truthfully honest, I really don't. Like, and people say about, oh, you got to go and get Potter. Potter's not the solution, right? It's the short-term solution right now for a problem that is. If you want to go and get someone, you've got to go and get Carrick. You've got to pay the money. You've got to get him out of Borough. He will integrate the youth. He's one of us. Yeah, he come through the academy. He was in that team that went down in 2003. Yeah,
Mm.
he understands what West Ham is. Yeah, and that's what we need. We need a young, fresh, up and coming manager. A manager. I don't think we need a head coach. I think we need a manager. I think we need someone who can sort of control the transfers, control what they're trying to do. I think you've got too many cooks spoiling the broth
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
minute. I'm going to be
yeah.
honest, and I just feel like, it's a bit up in the air. How would you look at this year though, Tone, as a whole, 2024?
Apart from, you could say, the signings, I know obviously the signings have been debate. It's been a debate for quite a few channels,
Yeah,
but we have bought some. There's been some players that kind of have come through that look really good. I mean, obviously, Somerville's one of them. Kilman looked okay, kind of thing. He's looking a bit wary at the moment, but in general, it's not been great. For all the money we've spent, I
yeah,
think if we had a manager that knew how to kind of integrate their players in gently, big difference. You might see a big difference in the way the squad plays. Unfortunately, with this fella, um, and you can't dismiss it. He's there. He's also one of the causes of our demise. As much as Sullivan is the ringmaster, this fella's obviously doing the team, and also what he's doing with it, in the fact that he's trying to put his identity on it, and
yeah.
unfortunately, he's the best way of saying it, he's pissing in the wind.
No,
because
I completely agree.
because
I
at the
really
end of the
do.
day, you could you could just sit down with another fan if you wanted to, and they look at that squad and said, "Oh, you should play this one, this one, this one, this one." Yep, that's the formation we should be playing. That's the player we
Mm.
should be playing. I mean, if we're not too careful, we're going to lose some of these good. I mean, Somerville, even when he came on yesterday, his face is like, "What, you expect me to do something in this period of time?" All
That's
right.
a that's a valid point. Sorry to interrupt, but that's a valid point. Right? If his interview went well, how bad would life? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's a great comment. Well done,
That's
MPM.
comment of the night from MPM.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you know what I
brilliant
mean?
comment.
Like,
But,
I don't know.
and this is the problem we've got is this season. I think the problem was we was all hoodwinked in seeing all these signings coming in and think yourself, you know what, we ain't done them out here. Other
Mm.
people thinking, blimey, you've virtually signed another squad, but we had to get rid of some old players in the first place. But you integrate them in, and we haven't done that.
Yeah. The only thing I will say with the players and everything else, yeah, and this is where the Steidon thing is a bit like that with me, right? I couldn't blow smoke up the geezer's ass last year and say that he's going to do something when he hasn't done nothing. That's just me. Like, you have to do something for me to see it and say, right, that's a good job. I can give you some praise. Yeah. The summer, the only thing is, we will never know who had full control of that window in the summer. That's the only problem. Like, if Steiden had full control and he's sanctioned a lot of these transfers in the summer, then he's gonna get some criticism.
Mm,
Simple as that. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
If he didn't, and it was a free, free and free, which I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I think, yeah, it is free, free and free, free for Sullivan, free for Loppy, and free for Steiden. The more I'm a bit sort of like, did he really have full control? Do you know what I'm saying? But then it all goes back full circle to the owner, because the owner
Mm.
is having his final say, so to speak. Do you know what I'm saying? Uh, I don't know. I just feel, I don't know. Like, I see a comment there just a minute ago from, where is it? From Ian. Yeah, I'll be good with Carrick. Perhaps not my first choice, but I believe the best choice to unite our fan base. I believe the vast majority of us will get behind him and his project.
Mm.
The key word on that is project for me, right? Because signing Lopetegui on a 2-year deal is not a project. That's a quick fix for me, and that's not a project. That's someone who they've gone, right. Who can we find? Right, he'd do. He's got the CV, and go from there. Like,
Yeah, but you wouldn't mind if you had a CV though. That's the thing.
true, true.
You wouldn't mind that side of things. I mean, going back to the scouting thing and that. I mean, the one person we've not kind of mentioned, because it seemed when he came in, it was to a bit of a fanfare, was old Rob Newman. Got him from Man City. What this man done for City, this and the other. He's
Yeah,
come to West Ham. It's going to look good. Next thing you know, he's out the back door quicker than you know it. So what
I,
was going on
I
there?
actually met him. I actually met him on the train. Time Newman. I'll tell you where I met him. My missus lives in Suffolk. I met him at Ipswich. I
Okay.
think, and I think his son plays for Norwich or something, or I think he might even live in Ipswich. Yeah, I don't know, but he was on the train, and with me, I'm quite good with faces. When I know a face, right, and I think, well, I recognise that geezer. Met him, lovely geezer, really nice bloke. Like, I'm not being funny. He was good as gold, and I think it was a few months later he actually got let go. Do you know what I mean? For the changeover. Now, listen, things happen in life, yeah. Whether it's like work or a bird or whatever, you sometimes you have to let go of things and move on to like new stuff.
Yeah.
But with the Steiden thing this year, I feel like that he was blown up to be something, and the press when you're blowing up a man to be such a success, and it doesn't happen, that's always going to end bad, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
think
It's like blowing up a player. It's like saying like this, yeah. Luis Guilherme is going to be a world class footballer, and if he isn't, then it becomes a failure. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the expectation level goes through the roof. So, you know, someone buy Sullivan a high chair for little ferret. Yeah, him last night. Do you know what? I see the stuff on social media. I don't know about you. What did you have a look around X and all that last night and see what's going on?
I didn't see last night because I saw something this morning. I think it was this morning. They're showing you Sullivan in his sleeping bag on
Yeah.
the chair, kind of thing, because that's what he looked like. And it's like, yeah. Then just confirming that they're going to keep hold of the fella, and that just kind of made you feel even more shit, basically, from what happened yesterday. Yeah, so I tried to avoid it a little bit because, I just didn't want to kind of hear the
Depress
same
yourself.
effect. Yeah, you know what I mean.
It
It's,
is
it's
depressing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and yeah, it's just a shame. It's just when I look at us 18 months ago, 2 years ago, right, and I look at us now, it's like we have to reset and start again from the scratch. Like we have to like go out and buy the players, go out and just redo absolutely everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I heard something from X earlier on. Someone sent me something, and he said that there's no money for transfers unless we start selling players.
wow.
And Bowen's got a ankle injury, so it's looking unlikely that he's going to be fit and firing for City. Which I'm not gonna lie, you just got to park the bus there and just hope for the best. And what you expecting in 25, mate?
Unfortunately, much of the same.
Yeah,
I can't see it changing. I mean, the fact that they're according to the Telegraph, what they were saying about Sullivan and Lopetegui, and that they're willing to kind of give him a chance to turn it around. It's not going to happen.
what is it that they're trying to turn around though? That's
Trying to
what
turn
I.
it.
That's what
I think it's just they're hoping that he's going to get this squad to suddenly, gel together, and then before you know it, we're just going to monumentally increase with results. It ain't going to happen. You're
Yeah.
not going to. You can't flog a dead horse at the end of the day, and also, unfortunately, that's what he's got.
I,
And you
I,
could tell.
I
And the
agree.
thing is, if you look at the players, as much as if you look at the first 20 minutes of that game yesterday, we showed a little bit of spirit. Once they got the couple of goals, we went back to the old ways. And then if you look at it in previous games, you can just tell that these players are just going through the motions. And I don't think, I mean, the Paqueta thing, running over to him and hugging him and all that crap, and that I don't know what the hell that was all about. That just seemed nonsensical to myself. But other than
Yeah.
that, you watch him. I don't think they're buying into his methods.
I think everyone's at a loss here. I think what it is for me is, and we will talk about the players because it's going to be interesting to see what you think on the players, right? For me, when I look at some of these players, they're not fit to wear the shirt. Lucas Paqueta is one of them. Yeah,
Mm,
ever since the gambling thing, that man's gone down the pan. But he was bad. He's been bad for the whole of 2024.
yeah,
Yeah,
agree on
he
that.
he hasn't been good at all. I can name probably one half decent game, probably against Newcastle this year, away from home, where he was pretty good. Other than that, he's been a shower of shit. I see people criticising Mo, but remember, Mo come in and was the first he was the first signing of the new regime, so to speak. Like starting to come in, got him on the jet, everyone was buzzing. Right, Kudus was good last year. This year, under the new manager, not the same player, right? I look at him. I'm not convinced on Soler. I don't know about you. I'm not. I don't see him as a 27 million pound player. When I think we could go out and find better players for lesser money. I look at the defence. If Todibo has an attitude problem, and he's been a problem at different clubs like Barcelona, Nice. Why was he signed? Like, do you know what I mean? Why was he sort of not looked at for his sort of personal attitude?
Yeah.
What do you make of the players, mate? If I'm being honest.
I mean, let's start off with the defence, as you said. I mean, Kilman coming in wasn't a bad buy. I know we paid
Yeah,
maybe a little bit over the odds for him, but there's your captain for one.
yeah,
In my eyes, that's my opinion of it. He should be captain, you know, because at the end of the day, and that you see everything like he does on the sideline. Emerson, he's still okay, but I think he needs a bit more encouragement, and we need to get someone that's going to push him on. Wan-Bissaka, you know, it's a decent signing. Sometimes a bit too extrovert, and it costs him because he kind of goes too far up the pitch, gets caught out, and that's that. Yeah, Paqueta. Yeah, I think that you said with the yeah, I've just seen that. Yeah, Constantio is obviously he's gone, so we can't get him. With Paqueta, yeah, I think his head is turned, and I mean, look at it yesterday, and the amount of times he fell on the deck for what reason when there was no challenge on him. You don't mind if you get clumped, but he wouldn't even get in there. So yeah, bid him off straight away. Alvarez, expected more out of him. We're not seeing it. That's for sure. Souček is Souček. That's the best way
yeah,
to put it in there. The Kudos situation, I said it from that Spurs game when he got himself sent off. For me, what he did with Van der Ven, I think that was just pure frustration for me, you
yeah,
know. And then lashing out to the two players, but that was, I think he's like you said, when he was signed under Moyes, there was something about him. He enjoyed what was going on. He bought into the actual infrastructure, what we was trying to achieve, worked well. Even JB, but after that, with this fellow and that, you could just tell, nah, it's not working. And if it doesn't improve, I want out. You can see that. Bowen, I think, unfortunately, looking at me yesterday, I don't know if you felt the same. For me, Bowen wasn't at the races yesterday. He didn't
He
look
looks
good.
he looks lost. If I'm
He was
being
trying
honest.
too much. He was trying too
Yeah,
much yesterday, mate. You know,
but I think he's
uh,
got the weight of the whole club on his shoulders, don't he? No time.
well,
That's the problem.
you make him captain, and we saw
Yeah,
how much that affected his play at the beginning of the season.
yeah,
You know, because he wasn't the same player. The attacking runs, he weren't doing that at all. Somerville, decent. You know, I think if you look at it, out of all of them, he's the one we should build around. Because even when he, like I said, even though he came on with face like, you know, what you expect me to do, at least he had a go. We know he's lightweight. We know he hasn't got the meat on his bones, but he's got more. I mean, I saw someone in the chat earlier said something about you know, very kind of Ben Rama style, but Somerville's got more to offer than what Ben Rama did.
Oh yeah, and there's more potential there, like to go on and be better than like what we've
Yeah,
currently got to a point. I'm like, so because what it is, you're buying potential. Like Jared Bowen is not the same player that we signed from Hull to what he is now. Do you know what I
no,
mean? Like we've made him the player that he is. The issue is I think some of these players want out. I'm going to be honest. I think they've had enough.
yeah, yeah,
I think a lot of them have looked at it and I don't want to say sold a dream, but I think when you're trying to tell players to come to your club and we're not delivering on the promises, that I don't blame them for wanting out. Do you know what I'm saying? Because what people said about Declan Rice a few years ago, saying, "Well, it's a job. He's going there. He's going to get more money." When he went to Arsenal, it's the same thing with these players at our club currently right now. Like if they can go somewhere else and get paid the same amount of money and be a bit more
will
successful,
do.
they're going to
Yeah,
do it, aren't they?
will
Yeah.
do. I mean,
So
the two shot. You know, we've said it before. I mean, it was quite surprising to see him actually come on yesterday, and that was Guilherme. I had to pinch myself to think myself, am I seeing something? Because
yeah,
you know, and he had a go, and he showed what he's possibly doing. It Irving, same thing again. You know, we
yeah,
know what Irving can do, but this manager doesn't. But then when we look at the fact of the attacking options, Fulkrug, unfortunately, is not the answer. There's no two ways about it. And I mean, even Antonio, as much as we love him for what he's given to us over the years to this club, we all knew, we need to get a proper striker in, and unfortunately, we never went down that road.
Do you know what? It's been a fucking absolute shit year for West Ham. When I think about it, like when you just mentioned Antonio there, obviously we heard the news yesterday or the other day about Ludo McCloskey,
Yeah,
which is like another thing. Obviously, the passing of Oscar, who sadly passed away.
yeah.
It's just been one thing after another. It's like we've had 12 rounds with Tyson and we're still going. Do you know what I mean? And we're still taking punishment. Do you know what I mean? And it's just
Oh man.
hopefully in 25 it's going to be a bit of a different year. Like it's going to be more positive. But the problem is, I don't think that nothing's going to change. I think it's just this season is going to filter out, and then we're going to have a problem in the summer. I feel that we're going to have a lot of people. I'm going to be honest. I'm just saying this as like an estimate, but I would say about 90% of the fan base have had enough of Lopetegui and want him at the door. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's 10% saying, you know what, it's a transitional season. Yeah, because I've heard that. I've heard that line all the time. So. But I think a lot of us have sort of looked at it and gone, right, this season's a write-off. And obviously after the Villa game, the FA Cup game, if we lose that, the season's definitely a write-off. Yeah. I just don't know what the future holds for us at the minute. Do you know what I'm saying? I really don't, Tone, if I'm being honest.
I think at the moment it's and it's sad to say it, but it's all doom and gloom at the moment, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's a miles off, and until we see some change, we're not going to see any improvement. And like you said, the summertime, I think we've got to be wary because the vultures are going to be circling over West Ham and that, and trying to pick off what they need. Kudos and Bowen, possibly, be two of those they look for, even Somerville.
I think Kudus is going. Well, I think we all know that. Yeah, I think he's going because that's what the plan was, to get him here, showboat him out, and then basically make a profit and sell him. The issue I've got is Bowen. If a Chelsea comes in for him, or an Arsenal come in for him, could he go? Like, I'm not being funny. Like, he's English, so he works on the British quota for them.
Yeah.
He's a good player. Could he go? I don't think he goes up north, Tone. I will say that. I think he stays in London, but he could go.
And I totally agree on that. I mean, there's a few clubs he would possibly go to if they come in for him. Even with his old, the old father-in-law kind of saying he's pennyworth.
Yeah,
pound and pence speak at the end of the day, and as a footballer, and that you've got a very short career. And I've done it with my Sunday boys when I did it with semi-pro boys. I said exactly the same thing. You look to play to the highest level you can, and if he's going to look to the likes of Chelsea, sad to say Arsenal, even the likes of Man U, Newcastle, Liverpool, he's bettering himself.
Yeah, the Liverpool shout is the one, really. That's the one where I'm going to be honest. I speak to a few different Liverpool fan channels, and they say they look at Bowen as a potential replacement for Salah to a point. Do you know what I mean? And if it ain't him, it'd be Kudus. So it's going to be one of them who they're going to try and nab.
Yeah, agree on that.
Like, even there, Potato Man comes straight in and says, I think Bowen will go to Liverpool if Salah doesn't sign the contract. Like, literally took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So people know, people are onto it and thinking to themselves, maybe we can sort of uproot a lot of these players at West Ham. Do you know what I'm saying? Anything else, Tone, you want to add on to, like, anything you want to discuss while I go through the chat? And
I think the biggest problem, we all we want to see is this club improve. We want to, we want to make sure that we got someone that can make the right choices, realizes the potential of the club, wants us to move on, build on what we, what we can become.
Yeah.
Not narrow-minded. Not the case of I'm only seeing months ahead. I'm not seeing years ahead.
Yeah.
Because that's what you'd like to see more than anything else with an owner. Not being funny. I mean, as much as they're small compared to us, you look at Brentford, the way they set themselves up. I mean, I ain't going to put them in the same league as Brighton because it's a different model. But you look at Brentford and how they treat the fans, how they treat the manager.
Mm.
That's why I'd love Thomas Frank at West Ham. That's always been my shout.
Yeah.
But he's got such a great relationship with the board, not just with the fans, but with the board. And because of that alone,
Yeah.
that's the thing that's what we used to be in certain respects. As much as we had the Kearns, we had
Yeah.
Terence Brown. We know obviously the setup with him too.
Terence Brown, yeah. That Robin bastard, yeah.
But at the same point, there was still an identity. Fans could still appreciate. Okay, we're not spending as much, but we know the players are putting the effort on the pitch, and that's all you want to see more than anything else.
Do you think the management appointment of West Ham, the reason why we get sort of managers who have failed elsewhere to a point, is because Sullivan, a good manager, doesn't want to work for David Sullivan? Basically, like would Thomas Frank move from Brentford, who I'm going to be honest are a side that have come up, they've gone through the leagues, they've been a working sort of team over the last 10 years. I remember them when I was in League One, and you know what I mean, and where they are currently right now. Same with Bournemouth. Bournemouth's another one. Could West Ham really attract a top end, high end manager with Sullivan at the realm? Because if no one's going to take that control, are they, Tone?
No, I think that's the biggest problem. No doubt, if it's the case of because obviously managers must have agents themselves.
Yeah,
you just see it now. Here, James, just had a shout. There's a club here. It got some great players in there. Looks like it's got potential to be this and the other. Who's the chairman? David Sullivan. Now forget that. I'll stay where I am, thank you very much. And that's the problem because as soon as they see that, they know. I mean, they obviously look at things as well, as much as what we do, what the people in the chat do as well. You know full well they see that in this face of like poison chalice. Whoa, no. Thank you very much, but no thanks. And that's going to be our biggest problem. When you look at if I go by our last manager, Moyes, Preston North End, Everton did okay there. Biggest mistake he did was obviously the Man United job. Getting rid of all your backroom staff was the biggest. Hello, happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Carry on, mate. Yeah.
That was the biggest mistake he did, but at least he came in as a manager, and because I think as much as Sullivan appointed him, I think he's also detested him because at least with Moyes stuck to his guns. As much as it infuriated us sometimes, he stuck at his guns in what he wanted to do with the team, and we saw 3 years of Europe because of it.
Yeah, I agree. I really do, mate. What did anyone on the stream like Postecoglou at West Ham? What's your thoughts, Tone?
I mean, when you look at him, at least he know if he comes here, he can spend some money. Because they've done it with this fellow in charge at the moment. The biggest problem he's had at Spurs, and obviously Conte and Mourinho, and all of them have found out with Levy. As much as they kind of see, that's the biggest thing when you look at that. They sell the dream.
Yeah,
they sell the dream, but don't come up with the goods. Whereas we have actually spent some money. So Postecoglou, he ain't no mug. I think it's a case of if he gets backed, then you see a bit more potential out of him. I think the biggest problem is at the moment is you can see his frustration. It clearly oozes out of him.
Yeah,
and that's why Spurs fans are kind of up in arms about him as well. As much as we've got our one, no. So yeah, that's how I see that.
I'm not. I think he's stubborn. I think he's another stubborn manager to a point. And I know managers are stubborn. Don't get me wrong, but he's another one. He doesn't practice set pieces. Like they get done on set pieces. He's not prepared to change that. He plays a high line against anyone. We all know a man who does that currently at West Ham, and it feels like he's got one game plan, and once that game plan runs out, that's it. He's knackered. Do you know what I'm saying? So do you know what? Apart from Carrick and Potter, I don't see who else there is unless you go out and really go a bit ambitious. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, would you have I'll use this as an example. Would you have Ten Hag at West Ham?
Ten Hag. I mean, I think
Because
no,
you got to look at Man United as a toxic environment to a point.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm with Hot Fuzz kind of thing, so you
Yeah,
know how much he felt
yeah,
about that situation. And when you look at Ten Hag, again, this is another manager trying to stamp his mark on the club, but it was too big of a job for him as well. As much as he was supposedly a good manager,
yeah.
could he do a job at West Ham? I don't think he could do. I don't think he'll get it.
Yeah.
The West, I say the West Ham way kind of thing. Potter, going on that, another name you mentioned there. I know obviously people got their views on him because obviously the Chelsea job, but it's another one that he should never have gone there in the first place. And I know obviously they were saying that Brighton was a kind of plug and play the way you go kind of thing,
Yeah.
but he knows Premier League players,
Mm.
and what we need at this point is get some stability, get some identity, and then hopefully we could start to turn things
So
around.
so does it have to be then? The next manager has to be West Ham related, then, doesn't he? To a point.
To a point, yeah, I'd say yeah, because you need someone that understands the club.
Yeah.
The
So
problem
it
is we're very
has to be
limited
Carrick
on
then.
that. It,
Mm.
but not being funny, mate. He ain't stupid either, is he? He's
Not
he's
really,
got
no.
he's got a nice setup at Middlesbrough, and why would he want to come to us, knowing what's going on at the moment?
Mm.
You got to think he left us, Spurs, and obviously Man United, so he's been treated with utmost respect and also dignity to with the levels he got himself into. He's now got himself into management and not done a bad job at it. So why would he want to come to West Ham knowing how toxic the place is in the first place? Because he's been there. You think about it, he's been there with the previous owners. He knows what the setup was there before, and now he sees it. You know full well. You don't just leave a club and think yourself, "I'm done with them now." Of course, you can still keep an eye on what's going on. So I
And
bet you he
I
looks at it
can
and think himself,
guarantee you he speaks to a lot of players,
"Oh, Gavin,
ex
yeah,
players.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah."
he might even speak to Noble. Do you know what I mean? And like, do you know what I mean? Because like obviously that's a fault. What do you think
Noble,
Noble's thinking currently right now?
oh man, he must be livid for one.
I agree. Yeah, I do.
Because he's seen his club, Mr. West Ham, seen his club slowly but surely being demoralised, demolished, and losing all respect and dignity at this stage of way things going on. And
Mm.
don't understand that we're all doom and gloom merchants because we know what the potential what this club could be.
Yeah.
But the way the setup is at the moment and everything else around it, unfortunately, like I said, I mean, like you look at the picture in the background at the moment on your setup there, it's nice, bright with clouds in the background. At the moment, we've got one big dirty grey cloud over there, and it's
Yeah.
not lifting.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a bit concerned about Noble to a point, though. I'm going to be honest, because I've got a feeling that if this carries on, right, is there a possibility that they could walk away? Because if people are starting to get undermined at West Ham, like in any walk of life, right, in any sort of business, when you start getting undermined and you're putting suggestions across for people, and you've got an owner in charge who does it on his own terms, doesn't listen to no one else, doesn't take no advice, it's David Sullivan and Will Salthouse, then you've got a problem. Then do you know what I mean?
Mm,
The only thing that we've got which is going in our favour is Noble's one of us, and he's in there and he can see what's going on. Um, but I don't think it's going to last long before he gets the needle with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
especially if his points of view are not getting listened to. And I don't blame Noble for that either. Do you know what I'm saying? If he's saying stuff in the background, and if, for instance, and I see someone in the comment section just a minute ago say about he's the one who's saying about Carrick, it wouldn't surprise me if he is mentioning Carrick because he knows that West Ham need someone who basically feels the club, who can understand what the fan base want. And we're not an hard listen, we're not an hard fan base to please, right? I have this debate on Spaces. People say, "Oh yeah, we're one of the hardest to sort of think." We're not. If we know that there's a plan in place and we can see what you're trying to do, and you say, right, you bring a Carrick in, you give him 18 months to sort of integrate his style, do what he has to do, on a 4-year deal, you can see what we're trying to do, like what we're trying to go down that route. The difference is that there's never been a plan at West Ham. It's always been like Lopetegui was the man who come in after Moyes, or obviously before after Moyes, but you had Pellegrini, that was a failure. We brought Moyes in. No one really liked Moyes at the start. There was so many people that was like, "Nah, we don't want him here." Then we give him a chance, and he took us on that sort of road. The same things happened here with Lopetegui, and it just feels, we need someone in there. Like, because I do feel on the pitch, I don't know about you, Tom, but our identity on the pitch as a club to a point, I can't see anyone West Ham related on the pitch. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Which is, which is
I think
mad.
the only one you could say, the one that stands out obviously is going to be Bowen first of all. And I'll say a slightly, in a little bit, is Souček.
Yeah.
I think he has an understanding, I think. But as for everyone else, nah. Yeah, I think it's half-hearted at best.
All shares need to be sold. Reset the whole show. One new owner, 80% shares on his own. So the thing is, if a new owner comes in, he gets a clean slate, doesn't he? Yeah, because for a lot of people, the move is one of the reasons why. It's the move, it's the ground, it's the structure. That's where a lot of people have lost it with Sullivan. And I do fear that the longer this goes on, right, you're going to see a Burnley situation, right? Again, where it's going to get worse before it can get better. But with Sullivan, and this is what people keep telling me, we can't get him out the door. I think you can if we all stick together and we all sort of mentioning it on every media show, every YouTube channel, everywhere. Eventually, right, it's going to get through. Because let's have it right. West Ham United check all social media and they check all YouTube to see what's really going on, right? And they check what's being said on X, Y, Z channels. They check what's being said on here, and because they want to know what's going, what the fans feel. I just feel that some of the fan base is like they're a bit torn at the minute because they can't do nothing about it. And do you know what I'm saying? And they can't get right. Last year, the banners come out, as I said yesterday, for the ex-manager, and the banners should be out permanently for Sullivan. But will they? I don't think so, mate, if I'm being honest. Tone, any New Year's resolutions for you, son, in 25? You got anything that you're doing for New Year's?
God, mate. Any New Year's resolutions? Bloody hell.
West Ham not to get thumped is my first. You know what I'm saying? That'll be my first one straight away.
It's can this club turn itself around? I think you just want to see the club do well. I mean, New Year resolution. Let's get a new owner in, and let's crack on. Let's unleash the potential we've got. That's the key thing for me.
I think for me, there's a few things. One, I've got to calm down because I can feel that I'm going to end up having an heart attack in the near future, and I don't want to do that. I think in regards to West Ham, and I see people so deflated today. Right, it's so hard to see. Trust me. Right, some people it's more of a shock than others. Myself, I knew this day was coming for a while, and it still hurts now even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I just think we've just got to stick together on this one, right? Right. I'll be very shocked if Lopetegui is still here come the end of the season. Well, I think there's going to be a couple of more hammerings over the next few weeks, and I actually think the Fulham game or the Palace game, I think there's them two games are sort of around that era. I think that's where we will see what happens. The problem is that we'll be running out of time in the January window. Do you know what I mean? And the January window will been and gone. And it wouldn't surprise me if West Ham just go out and get a loan signing and go, right, we're gonna let this one go this year and we'll work towards next year. Do you know what I mean? Especially if we go out of the FA Cup. If we go out of the FA Cup against Villa, then what is there really to play for? Do you know what I mean? Because we're in that sort of area where we ain't going down. We can't qualify for Europe, and we're just like between 10th and 14th, basically. So that's one of them. I think what it is, like, I think the fan base needs to stick together, needs to go together. And one thing I will say is I do think all the fans are starting to look at this and go, we're finally seeing what the real problem is, like, at the club. Do you know what I mean? And I actually think Moyes overshadowed it to a point because of the success West Ham are doing. Yeah. Sullivan got a pass because everyone had the heat firmly on Moyes. Moyes ain't there now. Lopetegui's there, and the heat's firmly on Sullivan because, like, of the situation. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree, because you've got to think, remember before it used to be GSB out. As soon as we started doing well, that all died down and out of existence.
I will never forget the first game in COVID. Yeah, when we lost the game 2-0 to Newcastle at home. One of the most awful performances I'd seen. There was GSB protest outside the ground because you couldn't get in the ground.
Yeah.
And then we went on that run where we was very good, and then it sort of calmed down. The problem is, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't do it, then people say, well, why aren't you doing it? If you do it, people say, well, you're being negative in a good moment. So you can't win either way to a point. Do you know what I mean? Damien says, I hold my hands up, James. I posted it today. I'm looking at the owners differently until Loffley's gone. Listen, mate, it's not about holding your hands up. That's one thing I am going to say. That's another New Year's resolution from me. I'm not going to judge any other fan from there on. That's another thing. I'm just going to let them fucking get on with it. I can only advise and say how I feel and what I believe. It's whether you believe me or not is another thing. But everyone's threshold's different. Like, my threshold with Lopetegui went after the Tottenham game. A lot of people's threshold was a bit more longer. Some people's threshold ain't even gone yet. Some people have gone, you know what, I ain't going to lose it. They will use the excuse that Liverpool are a good side, City are a good side, Arsenal, Forest are a good side this year. Look who we've been beaten by all them teams that are in the top half, top six, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is. Peter, as bad as we're playing, it won't make me go back to that ground. 13 years.
Yeah, back on the grog.
Yeah, well, don't do
Fair
it.
Play, yeah, Peter. Fair play.
Do you know what I mean? Let's get a few comments before we wrap this up. We know what the City result is already, but I think Fulham takes us apart. Yeah. Very likely Palace will have the beat of us too.
Yeah,
I think the Palace game is a banker draw. It's a draw every year. Do you know what I mean? Every year at home. I think we drew 2-2 there a few years ago. Gallagher scored 2. We drew there last year in a 1-1. Do you know what I mean? That's a banker draw. The Fulham one worries me a little bit because last season they beat us home and away, and they scored, fucking hell, I think it was 7 goals against us, and we didn't score 1 against them.
Right,
so you know, I think them 2 games will decide. But the problem is with that is, where will that be when it comes to the end of the transfer window? Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I'll be very shocked if we sign anyone in the transfer window. Right, chuck your comments in. We'll see what you've got to say before I wrap this up. I'd like to see Keane take over as caretaker to the end of the season. He'll get some good young players playing. I agree, mate. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, Keane, you know, that's not a bad shirt either. Not bad at all. But we know that's not going to happen, unfortunately. We'd love to see it, but it's the old school.
New Year's resolution, someone's a kick Sullivan right in the bollocks. Do you know what? I would just love to ask him what he wants out of West Ham. That's all I would say is, what is it that you want? If it's for a financial gain, yeah, tell us. I'll just be honest with us. But he just won't do it.
He ain't got it like that. I mean, you mentioned, going by Gaz's thing there. Do you remember that scene from Airplane when on the plane they're all queued up in a line? Yeah, we'll have so many people doing that. That's just kicking one. Yeah,
fucking hell, mate. Definitely, yeah. I think it's a good point, James. We're pretty much all want Loppy out, but I think the heat sits more on Sullivan than personally on Loppy himself. Perhaps the tide is slowly turning on Sully now. I think it's coming, mate. If you want me to be brutally honest, and I will be, as always on this channel, I think people are starting to see that it wasn't all about Moyes, and you've got to look beyond the manager to the owner and see what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's affecting a lot of clubs. I think Spurs currently right now are having problems with their owner, with Levy. We've always had problems with Sullivan. And one club I will describe, where I look at them and I think how they've changed their tune, is Newcastle. Under Mike Ashley, they was always held like that. Yeah, they couldn't do nothing. They was sort of restrained. And it's a bit similar to how we are currently right now with Sullivan. West Ham are a big club, and when you look at our fan base, we've got a huge fan base.
Yeah.
Like, and I've learned this tone through doing the YouTube game. Like the amount of fans all around the world, like, and in some of the most bizarre places going, right? And I'm like, you know, there's someone out in the Philippines who supports West Ham, and like someone out in like fucking like Bali. Or, you know what I mean?
I was in Cape Verde, mate. There was a on one of the beaches there. There kind of, some kind of stand on there, and also they had West Ham United on there. You know, he was proud as anything.
That's what I'm saying. So when I look at it, we are a big club. Now, is that because of the owner? Who knows? But I think West Ham have always been a big club. Do you know what I mean? I think it all goes back to the '66 World Cup when we won that, and with the players that we had at right for that England sort of triumph. Do you know what I'm saying? And it grows from them players to their sons, sons or daughters or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Will be on the absolute list. I think he already is, mate. Honestly, I'll be honest with you.
I know Arteta is. He's on that list. I know Arteta is. That's for sure.
Yeah. David Atton, hope you're well, mate. Sullivan doesn't care about anything about West Ham because he did. He won't be in this shit. Yeah, I agree, mate. It's just sad when I'm seeing all the comments, and I don't like sitting on here fucking being negative. But one thing that I've always said ever since I've done YouTube is I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be fucking honest to the core, and I won't ever change on that. Sullivan's game plan, he wants Potter as he's free, but the fans don't. So he keeps Loppy along as it takes for the fans to be desperate, and they will accept Potter and be grateful. Great comment. Completely agree on that, mate. He will drag it out with Lopetegui. I'm going to warn you right now. He will drag this out as long as possible before sacking Lopetegui. It wouldn't even surprise me if he ends up being here for the rest of the fucking season to a point. I like a manager who doesn't interpreter. I think I need an interpreter, mate. My lingo's crap, honestly. Personally, I don't want any caretaker or short-term appointments. I want someone in long-term to unite us all again. If possible, give someone the project and then back them. Would you accept it, before we wrap this up, would you accept it that this season's done to a point if it was said that they're going to let Lopetegui go in the summer and then they are going to go out and invest in a manager? Because I think the word invest needs to be mentioned quite a lot, because if we get another free fucking agent, then we're shit. Yeah. Would you accept that? Would you go, you know what, keep this geezer to the end of the season, go through this season, but guarantee that you're going to get someone in the summer?
I think that's the key word, though, isn't it? It's that guarantee.
Yeah.
As long as you've got a guarantee that is what they're going to do, as much as it'll pain you for the whole of the season, if it sees us through and then they bring a fella in that's going to turn the club around and give us our identity back, I'll put up to a certain point, but I'll be cursing all the way through it to the end of the season until they get this fella in, because all I don't want to see us is going to a certain point that we go down so far down that hill.
You can't get back up it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. Tone, shout out your channel, mate, where people can find you.
Sure, it's Early Doors Football TV. James, again, as always, thanks for inviting me on. It's been a good show, and it's lightened the mood, put it that way, coming on here. Even I can say that with you in your anger tantrums every now and then, kind of thing. Not many of you haven't. But it's been good, mate. It's been good.
Yeah, listen, last night I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to go. I'll tell you what, there was a point last night on the afterthought where I was starting to feel a bit emotional. I was about to really go into one. And then I just thought, don't let Sullivan kill you, James. Do you know what I mean? Like, just don't. Yeah, because that's the thing. That geezer is going to send us into an early grave. Do you know what I mean? And as I say, like, I don't fancy that anytime soon. Let's put it like that. Go and follow that man's channel. He's doing wonderful work on there. I'm going to be honest. He's trying to get up to 1,000. Go and support him. Yeah, he deserves all the respect. And the man is really trying to make his way in the YouTube game. So go and follow Early Doors Football TV. My final thought is this for 2024. Thank fuck it's over. That's what I'm going to say on that. I'm going to be honest. It's been a rough old year. Yeah, for West Ham content. There's been highs and lows. There's been Moyes in, Moyes out. There's been Lopetegui out. There's been all sorts of shit. The only hope that I've got is that hopefully that in 2025 something happens. Like, and I'm hoping rather than expecting. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to wish everyone a very happy new year also. Yeah, and good health for 2025. Listen, fuck the YouTube game, fuck like West Ham to a point. It's all about your health and about life as a whole. We can't change what goes on upstairs at West Ham, but we need to change the fucking owner as soon as, and I think we all agree on that to a point. So good health for 2025. Smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in 2025. From Tone, from me, take care of yourselves and each other.